Gentlemen, this isn't open. So before we go too much further and before we introduce our special guest, could I please have the Georgetown Chamber staff recognized? So starting with the president, Jim, Dana, So our guest speaker today, everyone knows, and I could sit and read you. Oh, sorry. Everybody knows we have had him as a guest before, and I could read the bio. But what I'd really like to do, having a daughter who's in kindergarten in GISD, this summer, the amount of planning that went into making this school year not just successful, but safe for staff and students alike. Was able to sit in on a couple of Zoom calls, and ladies and gentlemen, it really looked like the administration wasn't sleeping a wink. But all the preparation that they put into making this year a success, and just can't say enough, sir, that my daughter is doing the virtual still, but everything goes off without a hitch. So thank you from the bottom of our heart. At this time, I'd like to bring to the podium Dr. Fred Brent, GISD Superintendent.
You do that. There you go. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Well, good morning. Like I like to say often in Georgetown ISD, I always like to say howdy. And I feel like I've made about 80 videos over the course of the summer. And you're right. We did not sleep for the summertime, and it has been the most unusual of times in Georgetown ISD. But well, I tell you what, there's a lot of places you could be living in Texas right now, because Texas is the only place to live. But if a lot of places to live in Texas, and then there's no place like Georgetown, and would not be serving any other community. So thankful for the introduction, and thankful for being here. Okay, real quick, today's breakfast links. Jim, what time do I have?
For you, sir, 8:22.
8:22. Okay, there you go. And
let's 8:50, sir.
8:50. Okay. And so, you guys, while we're doing this, watch Jim. If he's spending too much time on his phone, it's because he's checking out Stitch Fix. Because I told him that's the only way to go to get you new clothes. So watch Jim. If his style improves over the next 3 weeks, you know that he downloaded the app and he's on Stitch Fix. So. Thank you for having us this morning, and thank you for taking time out of your day, and our virtual people, thank you for joining us as well. Okay, if you were going to be at this event, you were thinking, okay, that guy Fred's going to talk, and I'm wondering what he's going to talk about. And, I wish he'd just quit throwing stuff at us all the time and talk about this. So before I begin, there's a lot of things I do have to share. I'm curious to know, what are some things that you thought, maybe you didn't know where you were going today, maybe you just walked in the door and realized that I was speaking. However, once you found out, whenever it is, that I was going to speak today, what are some things you hoped I would speak to? And I'd like to write a few of those down and make sure I touch on those. Anything you just wondering you'd like to hear about from us without taking too much time of just me telling you things? Anything in particular you'd like to hear about today?
What are we doing to effectively plan for the declining mental health of the students in this city?
Yes. Can we call that social emotional wellness?
Yes.
Okay. Good one, because I did not have a specific slide on some of that, so this helps. I can cover some of those things. Others? Yes, sir.
How are you addressing the concerns about negative test scores?
Scores, accountability, we can talk about that. All right, any others? Okay, so let's talk about a few of these things, and I think it's important to I will cover both of these as we move on. And now let's get started with some good things. All right. So one of the things we do in Georgetown, Texas all the time is we like to begin our meeting with good things. And we do that for many reasons. One of the things that we truly believe in is there's two things that we control in the life of our students in school, and that's the work we design and the relationships we build with our students. And we like to begin our meetings talking about good things. And I know that we've heard different people catching up at tables. So if you would, I know this may seem a little unusual, I'd like to take 2 or 3 people to share something good going on in your world. And I just want to give you a peep into our culture of what we focus on. And in building relationships, want to know what's going on in your life. So for example, if we were doing good things, I would start with one of my good things is that most recently, I have decided I need to learn how to build things with wood. My papa was a carpenter. I'm trying some woodworking projects. And this weekend, my son and I finished our firewood storage box that I felt like we did a really good job on. I downloaded the plans from Pinterest. And then as soon as we finished, my wife came out and said, do you think that HOA is going to tell us that has to move? I'm like, so she crushed it is a good thing that I finished my firewood box, but she did crush my dream. I may have end up at HOA, I don't know. My good thing is I've gotten to do woodworking lately. Some other good things going on out there in the world today. There's plenty of other challenges. Share something good with me before I put a board member on the spot back there. You might want to help me out with that. Anyone have something good they'd like to share? Yes, ma'am.
I'm getting another niece or nephew coming along.
A niece?
Or nephew, we don't know yet.
A niece or nephew? Is this the first one?
Oh, no, it's not. It's probably the 13th or 14th.
13 and 14. Okay. All right. More presents for you to buy.
Again, right?
Awesome. That is awesome. That's exciting times. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Awesome. Some other good things going on out there. We're like, yes, ma'am.
I'm pre-K and first grader absolutely love school and just getting to be in person and be loved on by their teachers.
Oh,
So,
well, we love
my
that.
mom and heart happy that they're happy.
Well, we're happy they're happy. Yes, sir.
We have a brand new Daisy Scout. She's almost 6 years old, and she was the top seller of nuts and magazines in her little troop, and we've got a son on the way in February.
Oh, congratulations. All right, there we go. We'll end with that one. There you go. Thank you for sharing that. Good things are important because obviously we all know that right now you're in the middle of the COVID experience, and we need to remember there's a lot of good things going on out there. I will tell you that when I think about Georgetown ISD and the things that we've been working through since all this began in March, March 13th is a day I remember very well. We're like, okay, guys, we're going home. Spring break starting, but I don't know what's about to happen. And we never came back for the rest of the year. And so since that time, it's been the most challenging time of my professional career. But I will tell you, I'm very proud of where we've arrived. Also knowing that we have a lot of new challenges ahead of us. So today I'm going to speak to you about a few of those, and I'm going to address some of these 2 items right here as well. First thing I want to talk to you about is our mission. And in a little while, you will hear us speaking about equity planning, some of the work we're doing with equity. But equity can be found in our mission. If we are inspiring and empowering every learner to lead, grow, and serve, it's every child, every learner in our organization deserves our very best every day. And I will tell you that as we went through the process of planning for this school year, and in all that we do, our mission has become more and more compelling to us. It has always meant a lot to us as an organization, but it was very clear that we need to honor how we're going to inspire and empower every learner to lead, grow, and serve. And every learner means every learner, not just the ones we like, right? Not just the ones who are like us. It's every learner. And what are their needs, and how do we evolve as an organization? I also want to speak to you about our beliefs. At the end of this presentation, you're going to see a quote, but here's the thing that has become revealed to me throughout this in a more clear and compelling way. Public education is a foundation of this community. We believe that, and we know that. We are the largest employer in town, right? We are responsible for your kiddos and your tax dollars. Those are pretty important things. Here's the thing. There's a book called Infinite Game. If you've not read it, I would encourage you to read that by Simon Sinek. It's written for business interests. But in this book, he talks about how infinite game versus a finite game. A finite game has a beginning and an end and a winner and a loser. And it's there's very strict rules and it's very narrow in scope in so many ways. Infinite game is a game that never stops. And public education to me is an infinite game. It's a game whose players enter into the game and then evolve out of the game while new ones take their place. But your job is to keep the game moving forward throughout time. Public schools are an infinite game, and we see that as having, our board's been talking about what is our moral imperative, but there's also a just cause. The just cause of public education to secure the future of the instructional future of all students. And in this COVID experience, became more clear to us that as a public school district, our community needed us to step up and be the best we were capable of becoming to try and take care of the future of our students, no matter what those challenges presented. And so these beliefs drove us through this COVID experience. They were driving us before, but one thing that's amazing is when your beliefs are rock solid, when they're in granite, when the storm of life comes before you, it may wash away all that other debris, but the rock of your foundational beliefs is still there and exposed, and it really reveals who you are as an organization. And I'd like to say we've been focusing on honoring those beliefs, and I'm excited to tell you that you know, in all the challenges, we're going to find our way through this. And these beliefs have been very, very compelling for us. So let's talk about some good things and what's been happening. You may have seen a lot about technology distribution. Holy cow. Thousands of laptops have been thrown out all over the community, right? Hotspots, so forth. We have worked tirelessly to try to make sure all of our kids who needed technology had opportunities to access to technology. What you may not know is that in previous bond elections, we had secured funds to move towards a 1-to-1 technology ratio in our district. And we were moving that forward, but it was going to take us much longer. And then when COVID hit, we had to ramp up that experience. So we have spent over $2 million in technology this summer. And a lot of those funds were bond funds from previous bonds that were designated for technology use. And we have just recently distributed over 5,000 brand new Chromebooks. The acquisition of technology was very, very challenging. You may or may not be aware that everyone in the state needed technology, right? And so we got on that early, made our order. I was so proud of our technology team, and all of a sudden that order got kicked back. It's like, wow. And we found another alternative, and it got kicked back. And finally, we're able to acquire the devices. And we're gradually moving towards every student in the district having either Chromebook or an iPad for the littles. And by December, I think we'll have everyone covered. So very proud of the work there. I can tell you, men and women delivered Chromebooks to homes. We had a lot of community volunteers working to help us hand out those devices. And that was a great reflection of community and engagement enhances the experience of our students, one of our beliefs. And that community members have been working with us tirelessly to distribute those new Chromebooks over the last several weeks. Equity planning is something you may or may not have heard about. House Bill 3, there's some legislation that took place that requires districts to have equity plans. And so what we started looking at is, what do we mean by every learner? And what are we doing to make sure we secure the instructional future of all students? No matter who you are in our district, if you're a student or you're an employee of the district, we want to evolve and to identify ways that we can meet your needs. So I've been very proud of the team's work on our equity planning. And I know that that work is continuing to evolve. But I'm thankful that our mission statement aligns to what equity really means. And that's every child, no matter who you are, has the right to secure their future in our public schools. And we're excited about the opportunity to keep making sure we make ourselves aware of barriers that we may be creating unknowingly that could cause students not be able to secure their future. So we're working through that process and excited about it. Parent U, you may not know what Parent U is. Parent University, this is a website, you can see the link there, that has resources for parents. There's a gentleman in the back corner that was harassing me about being a school superintendent. His name may or may not be Josh Schrader, but Josh was harassing me about that. He said, what is Parent U about? And Josh has been a great partner with the district, but Parent U is designed to try to make sure we give you more tools and resources and supports as parents to explore the educational needs of your children. One of the things, and when you talk about social emotional wellness, there are some resources that we'll be continuing to put into this website that will help parents navigate how to meet the behavioral needs of their students. We offer a lot of different services in the districts, and what we realized was we need a place for parents to call home where they can go and get new resources from us, whether it's navigating technology, whether it's navigating some social emotional needs of your students, and we'll continue to fill that space. There may be aspects of college admissions and the FAFSA that you have to fill out, right? If you're sending your kid to college. There's information in that portal that will continue to be an online support that we've just started. Our PTA presidents and PTA councils helped us launch this, and we're excited about what that will serve for the community to come. Future Ready, gosh, guys, during this COVID experience, we had 2,700 students participate in our Future Ready this past week, and excited about all the work that we're doing for college, career, military readiness, career certifications, and how we are constantly pushing for the future of helping students explore what is ahead of them. And one thing we know is the future of our students is changing very quickly. One thing about Future Ready is in one of our previous bond elections, you guys authorized us to design a new CTE facility. We are wrapping up the design of much more really what you will hear called as a Future Ready facility, as to a district facility that will serve as a more centrally located place to all of your junior, senior level certification type programs for CTE, college career readiness. And it's a very comprehensive platform, but very excited about what that facility will offer down the road. Obviously, that would need another bond election before that can be built, but really excited how we're going to continue to grow career opportunities for students so that they are prepared for the future when they leave us. All right, despite COVID-19, what's been going on in Georgetown? I'll go through all these things, and I'm right at 8:22, so I may go beyond that, Jim, but we'll open up some questions and answers. You can see that timeline right there in front of you. Guys, I wish I could sit here and tell you what that experience has been like. What I do know is this, is there were times over the course of the spring, driving around our community. If there's one good thing that can come from COVID, I will say this, the spring. It was I got to wear jeans every day. I came to the office every day. I would not work from home. I felt like I needed to be in the building. And traffic was great. I will tell you. Williams Drive, man, I would just go down Williams Drive because I could. Like I'd say, how fast can I go before I see you? I just flying down Williams Drive. Nobody's on the road. But it was a very scary and uncertain time. Driving by your schools and seeing yellow tape around playgrounds because kids aren't allowed to be there was heartbreaking for me, crushing to realize that kids who needed to see us weren't able to see us. Students, my wife is an elementary school counselor, if you don't know that. And for that time frame, from March to the end of the school year, on many occasions, my wife would normally call CPS because there was a child who was being neglected or abused or had needs that the family wasn't providing and needed intervention. And that did not happen one time, except for rare occasions where we were able to connect with others. So there were so many needs of our students that were going unmet that were not even related to COVID, meaning there were so many other factors that were threatening my children, our students, that they were at greater risk to than they would ever be at risk to COVID. And so it was very challenging for me to sit there and realize that thousands of kids are going unfed, are not having their emotional needs met, are not being connected with a teacher, and yet COVID is really not a threat to them. Really not a threat to them. It was hard, very, very hard. But I knew that we would need to open school again. And I wasn't sure if that was going to happen. And as a dad of 2 kids at home, I really needed my kids to be back in school. But, you know, it was a very emotional journey for us, a very trying time. But I'm very, very proud of what we accomplished. So proud of the fact that we got to have graduation in May. I did not think that was going to happen. And here's the deal. You go to work, I would get to work at 7:30 in the morning and leave at 8 o'clock at night and go, what just happened? Did anything happen today? I mean, it was like Groundhog Day over and over and over. Things from TEA would change. Information was constantly changing. Rules were changing. Trying to figure out how in the world we're going to have school knowing that our kids, before the school year ended, needed to be celebrated. We needed to have graduation if we could. And we had a parade. I don't know if you were at the parade or not, but I have a feeling you may see a parade this spring at the end of the school year. I've been told we need to do this again. But Georgetown, ECU, and Rasharte students drove around the square, and we had a party and a celebration for them, and it was so much fun. I thought that might get canceled a few times, but thankfully the city and the county worked with us, and they allowed us to have a parade. It was such a good time for us. So we're really excited about how we're able to celebrate the kiddos and launch them into the year. And I thought, okay, man, we got through that year, and now the fall will be normal. Well, guess what? The fall is not normal. And I have a senior in high school. I know some of you in this room may have seniors in high school. We're wondering what their senior year is going to be like. So over the course of the summer, we've had 110,000 meals were served between March 23rd and May 28th, and we continue to serve meals in the summer. We served 30,000 adult meals. We would have families come through the line who's had lost their jobs as well. And we served anyone who came through because we are a foundation of this community. And yes, we spent money to feed families. And yes, we would do it again. It was what our community needed us to do, and that's what we did. And I can't express to you my appreciation for the men and women who made that happen. Melanie Dunham's in this room, and I don't know if you know who Melanie Dunham is, but she's on our school board, and she was at Pearl serving meals every day. And she was even in costumes at times. She was in the, if you saw the inflatable dragon running up and down serving meals, that was Miss Dunham. Trustees who serve on the school board, who take a lot of questions, we'll say that. Maybe they are put on the spot quite a bit. In case you didn't know, they don't get paid at all for this job. And they get subjected to many long hours. But to have trustees like Melanie Dunham and those who served on the lines and volunteered, you know, Elizabeth and Andy are in here as well. And guys, they go above and beyond. And to see them there every day serving meals and handing out technology, volunteering like they've done, you know, it was pretty powerful. Yes, there's an election going on. I get it. But I'm telling you what I know about my trustees, and I can tell you that Melanie Dunham and David Phillips volunteered more than anyone you could ever imagine as a trustee volunteered, and I appreciate what they've done for that. Increased communication and engagement. Guys, we sent a lot of videos out. You can see those numbers. It feels like it was more than 26 videos. I'm going to have to go back and check that number. Here's another thing that our board did. I want to say it was 5, Andy, do you know if it's 5 weeks, guys? Elizabeth, how many weeks do we have workshops on the Monday?
Like 150.
150 weeks. So here's the deal. When we were planning to open the school year, our trustees started meeting every Monday afternoon from 3:30 to 5:30. And we just basically went through what was going on over the course of that week. Guys, they didn't have to do that. They were trying to secure their businesses, their families, doing things that they needed to do. But I was very thankful because I believe that really made us look at things through more, the lenses that we looked at were clearer because of the board's insight. There was a lot of vulnerability. I had to be very vulnerable during this experience because there was a lot I did not know. I would be asked a lot of questions I could not answer, but I had to go figure it out. We had a lot of great community meetings. Jim Johnson was able to facilitate some Cornerstone meetings with representatives of the Cornerstone and just different chamber representatives from the board, et cetera, and businesses to give us feedback on decisions we were trying to make. Many people volunteered to help us make better decisions. And I can tell you, the surveys, the online meetings that we had allowed us to prepare for a school year that had a lot of uncertainty. You can see these dates and timelines here, and one of the things that we experienced quite a bit was, how do you get employees to come back to work, and how do you help them feel safe? And here's what I learned. There's one thing I learned in this. I learned a lot. But one thing I can tell you is that a fear does not have to be true for it to be real. And what I experienced was that I had people very concerned about COVID to what some might say an extreme, and I had several who were not worried about COVID to an extreme. We were documenting employees on saying you have to wear a face mask because we just had to, right? It's the law right now. Anyway, or the governors or whatever that was. But trying to get everyone back to the building for our just cause of securing the instructional future of all students. We signed up to love on our children, to take care of them, to help them secure their instructional future and meet their social and emotional needs. All the things that we signed up to do as school districts. They needed us to be in a building. And so we had to help employees walk through what that was going to look like. We had to make some medical accommodations for some of our employees, and we worked through that with them. We were able to take Pickett, the old Pickett Elementary School, and turn that to one of our sites for remote learning teachers who had some conditions that wasn't a good idea at the time for them to be in the building. So we made accommodations for them to teach there and have our technology access points. A lot of decisions that were made in trying to figure out how do we bring people back to school and help them feel safe, and how do we try to create a school experience that's not so sterile so that kids can actually enjoy their school experience. And we've had great successes, and we've also had some challenges in that process. There's things that we tried that may not have gone so well, but we had to help teachers see it. And here's an example. I got an email from a teacher that I know that you probably know and respect. It's like, I'm going to have to quit teaching. I'm concerned about my health. I have these conditions. And I'm like, please don't quit yet. Hold on, right? And she walked through what that was going to look like with her principal, to the point of, yes, I'm coming back to the classroom. I'm going to be in the classroom. I don't even want to. I want to be there where my kids are. To where 3 weeks later, she had multiple student groups in the hallway doing group activities, writing on the walls, doing different things. So the emotional roller coaster this has been for teachers and staff and families has been unbelievable. And we've just tried to be here and figure out how are we becoming what our community needs us to become. So you can track what's going on our COVID dashboard. We just recently updated this. You can see that link there on the website. We are tracking confirmed COVID cases. Those aren't rumored cases. Those are confirmed cases, okay? And you can track our progress there. We have had great experience with our fine arts and our athletics programs. I'm proud to report in the entire region, there are 2 marching bands competing in the UIL marching competition that's going to be held at Perkabunk Stadium, because the only 2 in the region are Georgetown and Eastview High Schools. So I'm so proud of our fine arts department for pushing through. Our kids wanted that opportunity. We've found a way for our kids to march and compete, and we're excited about that. You can see that we have 57% on-campus learning for the first 9 weeks. Now we're at 65%. We've seen about 1,200 students come back to us for in-person learning at the turn of this 9 weeks, which started, I believe, yesterday. Our enrollment numbers are a little down from where they were in May, and we're hoping we can get those kiddos back. So with funding, you may be wondering about our money because you send us your money, right? And over the last 2 years, we've given the highest pay raises we've given. We have 8.3% teacher pay increases, 19 and 20. Very proud of the work our board did on that. The board worked through that diligently. We took a little heat in 2019 because we were trying to be conservative, make sure we were sustainable with our funding. And then in 20, we're able to bump that raise up some more to where we are competitive with our neighbors, especially when you look at the scale of the size of the district. So I'm very proud of that work. And you can see those numbers where we reduced our tax rate another 3 cents, and our current tax rate was $1.30 for $100 of property value. Guys, we spent $3.2 million so far on COVID-19. And if you see Val Covey, because we work directly with Val, Judge Gravel, Scott Hazelmeyer, that team has found a way to help us secure funds. So we are getting reimbursed for $1.2 million of those expenses so far through the funds that the CARES Act funds that the county has received. Guys, we're not getting money from TEA like everyone said we were going to so far, and I don't see that money coming. I'm so thankful for the partnership with the county. Williamson County has been phenomenal in this work to help us secure these funds. And so tell them thank you when you see them. Cannot express my appreciation to them enough. And finally, we do bond elections. We finished our 2018 bond projects. Wolf Ranch Elementary, we've opened. No ribbon cuttings because, well, we're in COVID right now. Someday I'd like to take you on a tour of Wolf Ranch and Williams Elementaries. Wrapping up the Tippett work, the secured hallway, walkway at GHS, the addition to Ford Elementary. And so very excited about those projects. And here's the quote I want to talk to you about. And before I do that, let's just talk about these 2 points. On social emotional wellness, our David Rainey, it would be a great person to speak to the work that they've done. We have another partner called Cara Solis that is able to provide additional supports. We have staff members that have increased their emotional mental health supports for our employees and our families. And the bottom line is that has been a priority of our board, social emotional wellness, and the network of care that the team has created. I don't have all the data and all the details, but I can tell you this. Of about 5 things that are a priority for our school board members, social emotional wellness is one of them. And they've done tremendous work in funding new positions to support the mental health needs of our students and families. And the consequences of COVID-19 on our students and families are going to be unknown for some time now. But they are being diligent. I know that my wife has found new ways to stay connected with students, whether it's through phone calls or videos with families, and providing lessons for students, whether you're remote or in person. And that has been a priority of ours, and I'm proud of the steps that our team has taken in building new support structures through all of this. And on accountability, I'm very proud of the work of our district in understanding what accountability is. And one of the things that's important to think about is when we evolve with student learning, we have been working with new, more frequent assessments. And I can always bring a team of people in here to talk to you about that, but here's the 30,000-foot view, is that in our intervention planning, on our campus plans, our teachers now are learning to use new resources that offer more frequent snapshots of a student's learning and whether or not they're making progress over the course of the year. And through that work, we do believe our students will do better on STAR. We also have to try to find what is the right framework for STAR. And what is that accountability system really all about? And so I can tell you that I do believe our STAR scores are going to go up, but I can also tell you our first and foremost focus will be on the mental health and wellness of our students. Are they making academic growth? And if we are growing them on the standards the right way through a new assessment process, that we do think STAR scores will go up. But it's not something that's done overnight. It takes time. It takes years. But we also want to make sure we take care of the whole child. And so we're working to find our way in that balance. And I do think our scores are going to go up. So with that, there's that quote there. What are some things you thought I should talk about that I've not discussed yet? Because I went through a lot of information and may have piqued your interest and you want to fire away some questions. I'd rather do this than just question and answer time. It kind of feels weird sometimes going through a presentation. Some questions you'd like to ask of me? Are you really that ready to get out of here? Okay. Yes, sir, Jim.
Fred, can you elaborate a little bit more on the change, the announcement Friday with the schedule and what y'all are doing with those additional student holidays?
Yes, thank you, Jim. Man, I'm sorry, I forgot to talk about that. Okay, one of the things that we've been doing is working with principals and staff to figure out here's what I know, and how are we doing, what are the needs? The workload for teachers doing remote and in-person learning is not sustainable for the entire year under the current platform. We've got to find ways to provide some relief on that workload. Also, the volume of workload on some of the remote learning may not be sustainable as well. Here's what happened. In the spring, it was everybody go home and try to make some sort of academic advancement. And then in the fall, we found out from TEA, oh yeah, you're going to have to do remote learning, which we knew we needed to do that, but you're going to be held accountable to the state accountability system. And you're getting a lot of pushback against that from educators across the state, because we simply don't believe the accountability system was doing what they told people it was doing anyway. And now with the pandemic that we're in, we don't know that this is really the best case scenario for students, because we do know a lot of students are not engaging online, and we're working on that data, and we'll have more of that data later on. But what we found out was that through the process, we knew remote learning had to be more robust than it was in the spring, and it needed to cover all the standards, and we were going to be held accountable for student learning in that process. And so we really worked hard on the remote learning platform, and some of that work may have been, we don't know what's going on back here. There we go. Some of that work may have been, we're learning, maybe it was a little too much on the remote side. Maybe it was too challenging for some of our students, and trying to find the balance. So when you are taking an organization like Georgetown ISD or leading your business, you make adjustments to an experience. There's a cause and effect. Some of the adjustments we made, we have to now step back and reassess, okay, what needs to be adjusted with the remote learning platform? How are our students doing? How do we need to change things to meet their needs? What the feedback we got from many teachers, whether it was the Teacher of the Month luncheon and talking to principals, it was, guys, we need some time. And the most important thing we could do was give them time. So a team of principals, teachers, and district leaders met, and we realized that these dates you see on your screen, November 2nd, which is right around the corner, November 30th, February 1st, 17th, and April 19th, were days they could sprinkle in throughout the year for a student holiday, but a teacher workday and employee workday. So that our staff members will be able to spend that day adjusting the content of what they're teaching, planning for the future, reflecting on the things that we might want to change and evolve. And we were able to capture those days without compromising the required minutes for the school year. And so these days are intentionally created so that, yes, students can catch their breath and have a true student holiday, but they're there because we know our teachers need the time to be able to work on things that they feel compelled need to be adjusted for our students. So the several representatives from the Chamber of Commerce were able to give us feedback on what those days looked like. Some of our business owners, they're like, oh gosh, November 2nd is around the corner, but thanks for the heads up. And we knew it was a short timeline, but the bottom line is our people need some time to focus on the craft of teaching and learning. And we were able to gain these 5 days in a strategic places throughout the calendar so that our teachers and staff could work on taking better care of our students. And those days are to the academic calendar. So appreciate you bringing that up. I forgot to do that. Some others? Yes, sir.
Well, I just want to say thank you. I actually talked to Elizabeth on Saturday, and then hearing you today makes me feel, we decided to homeschool this year because of the whole COVID thing. And I feel better about talking to my wife about getting my daughter back into school. If not January, then next fall. Thank you. And thank you.
Thank you. But here's the thing. There's a lot of families like that, and this is an unusual time for us all, and understanding, I think it's one of those things where you never know how this experience is affecting each individual. I think we all show up and try to make it through the day the best that we possibly can. We have many families who have opted to homeschool, and we understand. Each person goes through these experiences in their own way. And our job is to say, okay, how do we evolve? How do we make sure we help families know that we're going to do all we can to be physically safe, emotionally safe, and make sure your child grows academically, even during a pandemic? And there's a lot of challenges to that. But what we hope is that we will communicate clearly enough and behave consistently enough to where you will trust us and know that we are going to live our beliefs. And our job, one of our beliefs you'll see in our framework is that securing the instructional future of students is critical for us. Developing leaders is vital to our success. And the instruction should be based on the needs of our students. And so a lot of things are conflicting with those beliefs that are going on in our society around us. And we will continue to stay focused on the needs of the whole child while we provide academic growth. And hopefully we'll earn the community's trust that all students feel safe to come back to school. And I do think we'll see that some sort of online learning platform may exist in public schools from here on out. For some families, this has been great. You know, you think about it, there's some students who may feel better about going to school at home. And there's some students like my kids, they want to be at school because they just like being at school. I think grown up in schools. Every afternoon they were at one of our schools, right? But there's some students who are actually doing better remote. And so as a learning organization, how do we evolve to make sure we offer a remote platform in the future? And that's a question our board's been asking and considering, and what would that look like for here on out? We want to be what the community needs us to be. And our job is to walk with you through that journey. Anything else? All right, so check out that quote. Resilient organizations may come out the other end of upheaval entirely different than they were when they went in and are often grateful for the transformation. So we want to build an organization that can weather change, not just weather it, but be transformed by it. And so we will be stronger as a school district, as a learning organization at the end of this experience. And the foundation of our community as public schools, but you as the foundation of the community, thank you for holding us accountable, for working with us, through taking the journey with us. And guys, hang in there. This Georgetown, Texas will be stronger at the end of COVID. Thank you. There's no cards on the table. If you'd like to send us a note or ask a question, I'll let Melinda handle that. You want to tell them what that is? There you go.
So there's a QR code on the screen. If you have questions that you didn't want to ask today or you think of something later, feel free to scan that, send it through our Let's Talk system, and we'll get it routed for answers. Or if you like things the old-fashioned way, there's note cards on your table. Feel free to fill out your question. Be sure to give us your contact information so we can actually get that answer to you later, and I'll take these from you before we go today. Thank you.